All right, hello and welcome. How's everyone doing on what I hope has been a good Tuesday, July the 13th? So sorry for being a little bit late today, which, I mean, honestly, it's not the worst late I've been. Just what, a week? Just a week late?
Plus about 10 minutes, but sure.
Yeah, yes, a week and 10 minutes. So it's not the worst late I've ever been. But I do apologize for being late. It's just I've been on solo parent duty tonight while my wife has been at a church event. So, sorry, not sorry. I'm always glad when she's able to go hang out with the ladies and enjoy that fellowship with other Christian women. So, yeah, tonight we're going to go ahead and be watching SeaQuest Season 2, Episode 13, Land of the Lost, or Lost Land, or, something along those lines. Now, John, I don't suppose you ever remember seeing the TV show Land of the Lost, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay, it was one of those TGIF lineups, I want to say. So, you'd have things like Step by Step, The Dinosaurs, and then Land of the Lost. I think it just had a couple seasons, but the whole plot was they were in like a Jeep Wrangler or something, and they went through a tunnel. There's an earthquake, and they fell through a crack in time and ended up in the past. And that was the premise. So they built a tree house. There was a T-Rex who was always harassing them, and it was a big deal, like, oh no, our only defense against the T-Rex is the car battery, and providing like an electric perimeter thing. So if the car battery dies, then we're all dead. And it was decent enough.
It sounds vaguely familiar when you describe it. I may have seen it, but I don't remember.
And John saying, good work on the thumbnail. Was that my thumbnail? In which case, thank you. Is there something wrong with the thumbnail?
Yes, there's something wrong with it. At least in my end, it looks like it's like part of one side of it's cut off.
I wouldn't be surprised. There's always something wrong when I export the thumbnail. I'll fix it in post. It does kind of look like one side's cut off. Well, I'll fix that up for people in the future.
No, it won't.
And Anti-Trekker's here. How you doing today, Michael? Hurry up, brain melting. And Commodore Ty needs another new article added. Look, it's the same old article. You can throw it up there, but, I mean, we're going to get a lot of repeats at this point. Cinnabon Bunny warning me about Officer Kelly. If you guys missed it today, Cinnabon Bunny found a new prison simulator game. Like, it's just a demo at this point. And in it, you are a guard, and what I can only assume is some Norwegian country based on the language. Like, I'm not sure if this is supposed to be like a real place or if it's just some made-up language, but it sounds somewhere in the Swedes, Norway kind of stuff. And he made me the leader of a gang in his prison. I believe we're the Kurogan gang. And they did a decent job of making a prisoner that looked like me. But in his stream, I kept trying to produce a stream, and he would not give me half a minute to use the urinal in my jail cell there. Like, he kept beating me and tasing me, and then he got mad. Like, why are you trying to go back to the bathroom? And I'm like, well, I gotta go pee, and you keep beating me. But it was a fun demo. Hopefully at some point soon they actually release it. And there have been games that I've been waiting for years on Steam, and we'll see if they ever come out. Oh gosh, yes, no, it was Officer Kathy. Kathy,
yes,
she arrested me in the police simulator game, and then she followed me into jail in the prison simulator. So there's no escape from Kathy. She had to dress up like a man to get into this prison, but she did it. 47 Yorktown, Hong Kong Fooey, how you guys doing tonight? Cinnabon Bunny, glad that you are here. Professor Brainy Specs, please do stick around. I hope that you stay. Cinnabon Bunny saying, I think it was a serious medical issue. Yes, being beaten was a serious medical issue. I agree.
One of many that Matthew has.
Rock Solid Production saying, I need to get a new calibration tool I just got for his Kister. Oh man, Rockslide, we both know I'm not going to get the name right, but I'm interested to hear about it. It's the Kister is a soldering iron device, and so I'd be very interested in this calibration tool. I'm assuming it's done to make sure that you're actually, if you say you're at 300C, it actually is at 300C. Anti-Trucker saying, I hear that dolphins force themselves sexually upon people. It's true. Dolphins are the worst.
Dolphins are the best, I think you mean. I don't know what you're talking about.
They're deviants. They're absolute deviants. You can't give a dolphin half an inch or they'll be all over you.
I suppose you know this from personal experience.
Why do you think I have such a deep animosity toward them? They did things, man.
Well, because you're a jerk. This has been well established.
There is that.
We're not ignoring you, by the way, Thomas.
What's that?
We're not ignoring you, Thomas. We see you.
It's true. I absolutely am not ignoring you.
Well, I'm not anyway.
And Thomas was saying that he's here because he was ordered to be, and you don't know who I am. What do you mean you're ordered to be here? Surely not. So let's go ahead and get this thing going here, guys. As you are well aware, this is our SeaQuest live watch party and our commentary. The way it works, if for some reason you aren't familiar yet, I am going to drop a link into the chat, and I reckon I might as well do that. And this link will take you to our screening room. And the whole point of this is only during this stream right here, right now, you will be able to watch this at the same time we're watching. So everyone will be synced up. If you're at some point in the future, you can't just come to the watch room and see this. You have to go straight to the source, which thankfully is peacocktv.com. You can go there, sign up for a free account, and be able to watch all 3 seasons of SeaQuest DSV / SeaQuest DSV 2032, however you want to put it. If, however, you don't want to do that, you can buy them on eBay. I'm pretty sure you can even buy it on Amazon, I want to say. Maybe not on Amazon, but you can at least buy the DVDs off of eBay and however else you want to get them. But I do highly recommend that if you want your own copy, go get them. They're not that expensive. I think a season was in the 20 to 30 range, so very reasonable. And even if I think there might even be a all 3 season pack, which was in the $50 range that I saw once. Thomas wants to know, why won't I break copyright laws? Well, so the reason I actually do talk about Peacock TV each week is because they were so cool. I got a content ID match. So it wasn't just an auto one. It was someone manually flagged it. You know, it wasn't a strike. There's nothing wrong. They said, whoop, did this too much. And I challenged it and said, look, I'm providing stills just for a point of reference as we talk about this. And usually they make you wait 30 days, and then at the very last day, they reject it just to be jerks. The people who own SeaQuest actually, I think it's NBC, I want to say. So they actually, within 3 days, lifted the strike and have never bothered me since. So the fact that they understand how great free publicity is, unlike people like CBS, I absolutely will pimp them. I'll absolutely say, go and get this, do it legit wise, because any company that actually respects its consumer is a company worth supporting. Like, I absolutely cannot stand companies that punish people who do things legally. But a company that actually respects its the people buying their product, they have got my vote. Well done, that man. So
Thomas was asking, why wouldn't you break copyright laws? Because you're already in jail for murder, so why not take the next step?
Well, I may be a murderer in Prison Simulator, but I'm not going to be caught dead stealing. But hey, if you fall into the category of people who maybe you're watching this on your phone and you don't want to have a separate device up, maybe you're watching this on your computer and you don't want to open another tab, or you only have one monitor. I don't know. I'm not judging. But in that case, we are providing the clips. So every 5-ish seconds, I put the clips right down here in the comm window just below us. And Sci-Fi Nation, how you doing?
They're saying that you're either stuttering or freezing up.
I hope it is neither. Let me check my sound over here. I hope it is neither. Let me check my sound over here. I might be stuttering. It could just be the way I talk. Hopefully not, though. Okay, so Sci-Fi Nation wants to know, does SciTube work better than Kasami? I've never tried Kasami, so I don't know. Or Cosme. SciTube has worked just fine for me. The way SciTube work is you have to have a legit link to another video file. Like you can't just upload a file and watch it on SciTube. You have to have a link to somewhere else. So I don't know if Cosme works the same way or if that's the exact same thing. I got no idea. And yes, Anti-Trekker, the SciTube chat does work. He's claiming that I love dolphins. I really do. I like to snuggle them, hug them. Matthew likes the way dolphins sounds and nuzzle him. His favorite thing is that bottle noose in his ear. So in short, Matthew loves dolphins, which I do believe he meant dolphins. But my am I one to judge on getting a name wrong? I am not.
Nope.
Okay, so with that, I think we've given enough people to click on the link that is pinned and enough time to get over to the screening room. So I am going to give us a quick, I don't know, five countdown, and then I am going to go ahead and get this thing going here. So if you're in the future and you want to link up your own watch party, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm hitting the play button on both of them now. There we go. So here we are in the ocean. I know, crazy idea, but that's where we're going to start off this episode. And Ford, once again, is down in the depths, which we've seen him do this once before already.
Me? How long have I been down here?
Which, you may recall, it was the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea episode.
The sound's coming through in the stream, it seems like.
Oh, is it? Well, thank you for letting me know. I can fix that real quick. Thank you, everyone, for letting me know. Thankfully, I was talking over it at the same time, so I don't think they'll fuss about that. I just need to declick that, and now let me know if you're still hearing sound, because you should not be hearing sound at this point. Okay, so what we're seeing is that something strange happened for Ford. He's been down here for 30 hours, which, can you imagine? It's got to take him a while to get in the suit as it is. And even with that, he has been in the suit down at the bottom of the ocean for 30 hours. And let's see. Too late, I've broken Peacock's trust. No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Because I was talking over it. It'd be pretty abnormal to get matched off of that. But as he's down here, we get a Star Wars pan up, and he sees this strange, glowing, Spartan-looking warrior in front of him. And we get a warning of, like, conditioned bomb threat, I think they said. I was a little distracted at that time. But for some reason, they are extremely worried about whatever is in this jar.
Yes, if I look confused, by the way, I'm having some trouble with the screening room. It doesn't seem to be working for me right now.
Oh,
it's just like it's looping on the screening room. For me, it's just like looping the first few seconds over and over again. Trying to figure out what's wrong with it.
In that case, I'm gonna reload this, everyone. Pause right there. Let me know if it starts to clear up for you here. Are you doing good?
Yeah, looks good now.
Okay.
Nice.
So we're gonna skip ahead back to where we were. It's gonna be jumping everywhere. Who's in charge of this thing? I'm not in, let me make it so I can skip ahead to 2:15. There we go. We're all synced up. Apologies for that. So everyone should be fine. They're doing this decontamination thing, a laser disintegration is what they said. And for some reason, B'Elanna Troy is the one doing this, which I think she may be the least qualified to do this. But for some reason, they're the ones that have given her the command over it. And that means, no, guys, is the screening room working for everyone now? We're all synced up. We're all okay. Because we should be.
So far, so good. I guess we're good now.
Yes, Thomas. The issue is John isn't in charge. Absolutely true. And I'm going to try and make sure that, yep, everything's looking good on this end. We're not getting sound. Very good, very good. And then we get the wonderful music by John something or other. These John people, they know what's up.
Yeah, John Debney, I believe.
That's the ticket.
A little bit of trivia. He also did the music for Iron Man 2, I believe.
Oh. Okay, thanks, Sci-Fi Nation and Avrik. So he's explaining that he saw the screen flash of light, and it kind of looked like a warrior. And they're a little incredulous, but I mean, come on, Ford has proven himself to be accurate on these things.
Yeah, mermaids, really?
Yeah, but as he picks it up, a human skull falls out, and B'Elanna Troy gives a quick order to fill up the tank with water, in the hopes that they can preserve it before oxygen begins to disintegrate it, which is a fair enough concern. And they're going to take off just a little bit of this black moldy wrapping and do a carbon dating on it. But the curious thing is, it looks like he was mummified, which should have been, something the Egyptians did. So it should have been like circa 5000 BC. And yet here we see a Roman helmet, which should be circa 200 BC or 50 BC. So this makes no sense. Sing the theme song like Bird of Prey 5.
Well, Thomas says they found the real Life with Matthew.
Who? Where? In the game?
Well, I'm guessing in the show.
So I think we have, what is that, Piccolo down in the suit now?
Well, I think that's Brody.
Okay, that'd make more sense. Because Ortiz is giving him a hard time about bringing the whiskers in too close. And Brody says, you know what, I think you're due for my survival course. And all of a sudden Ortiz stops bugging him with the whiskers. So O'Neill's trying to figure out what this text is, and he just can't figure it out. He says there's stuff from the Mayans, there's stuff from the Babylonians here. It's just this hodgepodge. He doesn't get it. And then for some reason, Bridger puts on the helmet and gets like picked by some pins or something. He sees that there's holes down in the helmet, but maybe it's for ventilation. We don't know. Regardless, this carvings on the helmet were done after it was manufactured. So clearly this has to be a journal. It's not something the artisan could have done. Yeah.
Now we get a flashback to thousands of years ago or something.
And this guy had to have been huge. You saw how the helmet dwarfed Bridger.
Yeah, it was a big one.
I mean, we're talking Goliath size for sure. So you see that he's inscribing something onto the helmet, kind of a journal, and we hear O'Neill giving a short description of, you know, he's so and so, son of so and so, the last survivor of, and there's a dramatic pause, and he realizes it's Atlantis. And Bridger quickly gives a command to set course for the hazard visual plane, or, you know, some location I'm not familiar with. And he's incredibly concerned that as soon as people figure out that this is a link to Atlantis, there's just going to be pirate treasure hunters swarming the water all over the place. But Brody has not been idle. He has been going and finding more body parts that go along with the helmet. And Bridger's telling everyone that this is now classified. Put all this stuff into lockdown. Let no one know about this. Put all the materials into the hyperbaric chamber. And he says, we must control what we find. People cannot find out about this. And I think Bridger's doing a good job here with his inflections. He definitely doesn't sound 100% like himself. He's kind of intentionally dropping an octave, I think. Hey, Springtime, how you doing? Am I ready for Bird Pretty 5 to move back to his life, homeland, or homeworld of Australia to become the true Aussie prey? Am I ready? I didn't even know that was on the books, Springtime. And Sci-Fi Nation's dropped in a link to his Discord. Feel free to join for live stream updates and general chat. And very true, Thomas. People do still get mummified, though. I don't know why anyone would want to. Like, that seems definitely not on the list of things I would want, to have my brain scooped out through my nose and all my soft organs. I mean, I know I'm dead at this point, but still. And hey, Mr. CCTV, how you doing? I like to think of myself as a centurion, and apparently that was a Roman helmet, not a Greek one. Okay.
No, Bridger's talking to the president of the UAO. He's being a little bit short with him.
Meanwhile, Ford is obeying instructions at this point and heading for the Hatter's Trench. The Hayes Fracture Zone. Okay. Hatter's Abyssal Plain is what the on-screen prompt is giving us. And then there's a ghost right in front of Ford, just staring him down. But we get a quick cut to someone else, and we see that they're clearly not seeing what Ford is seeing. He's just waving at the air, striking absolutely nothing. And then this big Centurion Spartan guy reaches out his arms for a hug, it looks like. And Ortiz is asking, are you okay, Ford? And Ford lies. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine.
And Thomas says, I don't think you have to have your organs removed. That was just an Egyptian thing.
That'd be more palatable. Mr. CCTV, are you my mummy? That was such a good episode. But now he's seeing a fire that's not even there. He's full on hallucinating, not just a ghost, but now he sees fires where there are no fire. And everyone is clearly looking at him like, understandably, that he's nuts. And Dagwood agrees. Yes, there was a fire in the chair. And we find out that, well, it's not that he saw it. It's just that if Ford says it was there, then it must have been there, and he's just being supportive.
Oh, that's good, Dagwood.
And he goes, well, I'll clean the captain's chair. And Bridger he's not impressed, obviously. Which, I mean, to be fair, if my second in command was hallucinating, I might be giving him some incredulous looks as well. And Ford asks to be relieved of command, and Ford reprimands him. He says, "You're in command. You can relieve yourself. You don't need to ask me for permission. I'm not gonna have a boat full of victims." Yeah, Robert, when the trouble's in the neighborhood or on your submarine, who you gonna call? Ford Buster? So Lewis and Jim are trying to figure out, you know, are our two XOs in their right state of mind? And if they're not, who's going to tell them? So unfortunately, Bridger is so out of touch with what's going on. He calls Lewis Lucas for some reason.
Bizarre.
And he said, really bizarre. And he's demanding to know, why are you out of uniform? And Lewis is like, well, because I'm just a civilian. And Bridger gives him the order. It kind of like with Troy. If you're on the bridge, you're gonna be in uniform. No more onesies. And now he's telling Jim, get this guy off my bridge. I don't want to see him again unless he's in uniform, which, you know, that I wouldn't mind seeing Lewis starting to be in uniform from here on out. He's earned it.
Of course, the difference is Troy was actually in Starfleet, but Lucas is a true civilian, or Lewis, I mean.
Yeah, but I mean, the SeaQuest, or the UEO, it's kind of like the UN. You're already... Is it really a military force? I mean, it's mostly a civilian force anyway. And well said, Mr. CC. Or go on, John.
I was just saying, well, they do follow a military command structure, for what that's worth. But,
True.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
And Mr. CCDV with a right-on response. Who are you going to call Greek Busters? And so we got a spreading mutiny on our hands. In all honesty, Brody and Lewis have started broaching the idea of them not being in the right mind, and now Brody has come to O'Neill, and he said that he doesn't think they're in the right mind, along with Ortiz. So, like, we got most of the command structure at this point talking about the fact that Ford and Bridger are not in the right mind.
So I guess it raises a question: when is it right for the commanding officers to be relieved? Because I think Brody is actually the next in line if both Bridger and Ford are incapacitated.
Yeah. And thankfully, Ortiz, by talking about the name of this guy who's been writing the journal, Ortiz kind of figured out this missing word that O'Neill needed, because we got hieroglyphs, we got Mayan stuff, we got Babylonian stuff, and the missing word was rain. Apparently there are 5 days of rain, and this guy is writing that if the stars ever return, he's going to write down the coordinates to get back to his homeland, the homeland obviously of Atlantis. And then Ortiz puts on the helmet, which I can understand, or goofball Ortiz putting on the helmet. Bridger putting on the helmet was a bit of a stretch for me, but it needed to happen.
Well, Thomas, I agree that Darwin should be the next in line, but officially speaking, he's not in the command structure.
I mean, to be fair, Darwin might be the one calling all the shots anyway.
Well, that's true.
He is a telepath. And Ortiz loses it. He picks up the sword and decides that now is the right time to, start cutting things in half. And thankfully, even though security comes in to subdue him, Ortiz is kind enough not to slash his throat or stab him in the gut or something. He only hits him a couple times with the hilt of his sword and, continues to run away. And unfortunately, the captain, he's not having anything to do with anything right now. He has abdicated his authority, but at the same time is just telling everyone to step up, to stop being lazy. So he sent Brody to go bring the UEO guy onto the ship. And Piccolo, he sees Ortiz and he's like, oh, what is this? Some kind of Cuban knife? And Ortiz takes a swing at him. And, Piccolo's like, it was just a joke, man. And Ortiz is chasing after Piccolo now down the hallways of the SeaQuest. So now the mutiny is expanding. Lewis is trying to get Beverly Troy in on this. Or B'Elanna Troy, excuse me.
Beverly Troy, that's a new one.
It is. I messed up my own mess up. Darn it, Matthew. He's trying to get B'Elanna Troy in on this. And he's telling him, just read the captain's mind. And she's saying, I have. There's nothing wrong with him. Everyone is overreacting. I have no grounds for relieving him of command at this point.
Well, you're about as useless as Counselor Troy at this point, then.
Seriously. And Arvik Sonder wants to know, what kind of pin was that guy using? He was using his sword. Which, I mean, you see him doing it, and he's holding on to the sword such that, like, he's holding on to both edges and pulling along what I hope is a golden helmet, because golden helmets, that's kind of malleable. Because if it was something like bronze, then I think he would end up cutting his hands on the edge of his sword before he actually engraved anything onto the helmet. And Bridger is saying, just shoot Ortiz. If he doesn't surrender, shoot him. And of course, we have a German scientist to inspect everything who needs to see the artifact.
I'm sorry for any Germans who are in the audience for that accent.
It's not quite as bad as Ozio Prey, but German is not one of the accents that comes naturally to me. Or this actor, for that matter. Yeah, Beverly Troy, bit of a trek up. It was, Mr. CCTV.
You don't know the half of it.
And Arvik, I don't think Darwin actually appears in this episode. It's kind of a weird episode. So Ford is holed up in his office. B'Elanna Troy is knocking at the door. Even though he doesn't want her to come in, he eventually opens it up for her. And Ford is saying that he's relieving himself of duty, which I know Bridger's told him to do that, but that's not how life works. I don't think Ford can just relieve himself of duty, in all honesty. I think that has to be the command of someone else.
And you're right, Thomas. English doesn't come naturally to Matthew.
Oh, it just doesn't. Not even a little bit. So Ford is convinced he needs to step down because he's hallucinating and seeing things that aren't there. And B'Elanna Troy, who amazingly is right in this specific instance, but is still giving horrible advice in general, is trying to explain how, since you believe in things beyond the physical, then clearly you can be seeing something that's not there. And Ford says, well, how can I be in control of my faculties if I can see things no one else can see? And B'Elanna responds with, well, I can hear things no one else can hear because she's psychic. So it's the same thing. And it's not the same thing. Not at all.
Nope.
I mean, she's right. And Ford is calling her out on it. He says, this is incredible. My psychologist is telling me it's all right to stay on duty as long as I don't listen to my imaginary friend.
Thomas says, first you say Darwin isn't in the command structure. Now he's not in the show. SeaQuest was made by a hack writer. This show is horrible now.
And Thomas, you saw earlier that Ortiz couldn't even take a little ethnic joke. Cancel culture. This show has gone woke.
Seriously.
In fact, I bet by the end of the episode, some woman is trying to relieve another guy of command or something. Or the opposite. A man just needs a woman to come in and tell him that he can do it. Which is what just happened. B'Elanna Troy is telling Ford that he can do it. He can be in command. And Bridger's asking this random guy whose name is Wells, when was your last diagnostic? And the guy starts to look down at his screen. He's like, don't look down your screen. You should know this. You're the command crew here. So he's saying, you need to swap spots with navigation. And he said, this is the last man standing bridge. That means that whoever is the last one standing should be able to take full control of SeaQuest. The poor Piccolo, who remember is a convict who's just been released, not even on good behavior. He's just been released to kind of fill a niche that they need done on the SeaQuest. He's actually serving out his sentence right now. And Bridger tells him to go take navigation, basically. And he's just a seaman.
Is Darwin behind the TVA? It wouldn't surprise me if he was, Thomas.
We'll be finding out this morning.
Oh, and he just slapped Piccolo.
He pimp slapped Piccolo, and Piccolo he's ready to deck the captain right back. But fortunately, Ford steps in and says, "I'm relieving you of duty. You're not fit for command." And thankfully, everyone was just waiting for this. They all knew that something was wrong with Bridger at this point. and they immediately grab him and are taking him to be locked down in quarters. And then the Spartan guy, he shows up and he's asking for a hug, and Ford says, not now, not now. Meet me in my quarters later.
And I don't know how familiar you are with this show, Mr. CCTV, but Captain Bridger does not normally act like that, just saying no.
And now he's just mad that he's tied down. And they're saying, you're not yourself. And he's like, well, then whose self am I? And now I'm going to be writing all this in my report, you mutinous weasels. Let me out. And B'Elanna Troy's had enough. She just hypo-sprays him. And so the scientist guy, this professor, we hear him arguing with O'Neill saying, you don't know that this hieroglyph says rain. For all you know, it says strudel. And he goes, really? You think that it says there are 5 days of strudels? And he's like, well, I'm proving a point that you're being biased. You're not objective. And he's saying there's no way you've translated it correctly. And he's saying there's no way this helmet came from Babel or from Atlantis. And the professor's saying, you made it say that. You don't know it said it, but you made it say that because you're looking for it. Meanwhile, Lewis has gone off to look up Professor Ernst. Because what we find out is that while he's claiming to be the only objective person here, the truth of the matter is that he has built up his career on debunking every single Atlantis claim that has ever been put forward. So it's not that he's truly objective, it's that he's actually extremely biased against letting there be any credible source of like Atlantis existing. And then he actually makes an appeal to authority argument. He says, who is this? Why am I arguing with a child? What credentials do you have? Which is a 100% appeal to authority. And Lewis puts him in his place. He's like, oh, I graduated, summa cum laude with applied sciences from MIT, something like that. And we find out that there's this guy a couple years back that Professor Ernst got kicked out of Oxford. He had several degrees. Professor Ubatu is what his name is. And he had several pretty credible theories about Atlantis, but Ernst here got him kicked out of the college because he is the only objective person in the room.
In Ortiz, it's in full Sulu sword fighting, shirtless mode here.
That's very true. Except his sword is very plastic looking, and Sulu's at least looked somewhat legit.
Yeah.
Arvik and Mr. CCV are both saying that they could go for a strudel. That's true. Strudel does sound pretty good.
I wouldn't pass up a strudel myself.
Sorry, I gotta check something real quick. Which, I don't know if you ever heard this before or not, but apparently for the episode, Sulu was supposed to be waving around a samurai sword. And George Takei said, I actually have done fencing. Like just a few lessons, but still fencing. So instead of just doing like the kind of racist thing of having me be a stereotypical Asian with a samurai sword, why don't we mix it up? It's the future. And that's why he had his little fencing foil.
Yeah, I heard something like that.
Which, I always take stories that make the actor seem really amazing with a grain of salt, but I think there might be some truth to that. And Ortiz, he sees the dead skull and just flips out. In fact, he flips out so much that he actually rotates it twice. I'm not sure if you noticed that, but the scene, he rotates it and the skull rotates to look at him, and it looks back at his reaction, and then it turns and looks at him a second time. And Mr. CCTV is claiming that he looks like Ortiz with his shirt off. Do I believe you? Well, I have no reason to disbelieve you, Mr. CCTV. So, and I read it online, so that has to make it true. But Professor Ubatu gets here, and the first thing he does when he gets off is he says, "You have proof, don't you?" And so he's giving a quick history lesson, talking about how the Mayans flourished over here, and yet over here we see the Babylonians and Egyptians. So how could they possibly share common traits? Therefore, right in the middle between the two, there had to be the continent of Atlantis that was a middle ground that people would sail to and be able to, share cultures and ideas. and Trek reviewer, how you doing? Saying that I'm a foil. Does that make me the straight guy? I think that make me the straight guy in the routine. Which I don't know if people are familiar with the old vaudeville skit, but you'd always have the funny guy and then you have the straight man, and the role of the straight man was just to respond stoically, and the funny guy would react humorously to it. So Professor Ubatu is reading everything, saying once Atlantis ruled the earth, but now everything's gone. Food and water is gone. There's not enough cloth to even protect my king, my father. And he gives his life to pass along the memory of the king to the next world. Oh, Trek Reviewer is saying, no, it makes me the bad guy. I see how it is. And Robert's saying, I believe that it wasn't until the Highlander TV series that the MacLeod sword was used again in modern times. Josh is saying, wasn't the funny man always to be the butt of the straight man's setup? I think it was the opposite, that the straight man was meant to be the butt of the joke. He wouldn't be getting it. Or was it because Abbott and Costello would be the prime example of that. So, you know, Abbott would say something like, I need to get down off this baby duck. And Costello would go, well, how am I supposed to get down? I'm not on top of it. And then the two of them would go back and forth like this forever. So unfortunately, because they were never able to get back home, the son's spirit has been tortured. So what we're actually been seeing, or what Ford has been seeing this whole time, has been the tortured spirit of his father, or of this guy whose father died. And apparently this guy just so happens to have some soil of Atlantis that he carries around with him.
It's very convenient.
And he performs a little ritual with it. And O'Neill warns him that he really shouldn't put on the helmet. But the guy does anyway and says the journey is complete. And now he sees, or at least it seems like he sees, the ghost along with Ford, who gives him a respectful nod and pieces out, finally able to go on to his well-deserved rest. And he lets him know that the story of Atlantis was passed down through 500 generations by family. But O'Neill says you really need to be careful with this, with the helmet, because there's two other people who've worn it. And he says, well, that's unfortunate because they're both going to die. And sure enough, both of them are dying.
Could really use Darwin at this point.
He would have some sort of useful insight for sure. So he's saying, at best, Ortiz has an hour to live, and they're trying to figure out how that can be. They thought they were just off the eastern coast. And he says, well, I immediately went out into deep sea as soon as we had everyone aboard. And she's kind of, B'Elanna Troi, she's kind of confused. She said, the helmet's pure gold. Gold is supposed to be a healing property according to ancient cultures. And there must be some toxin in it, but I can't identify it. And the professor says, well, it does, but this helmet also has a curse. And then just because we need the white man to be bad, which I'm joking, everyone. I'm just joking about that. But Professor Ernst, he sneaks in and he steals away the helmet because he simply cannot abide by the thought that Atlantis is real. He has built up his entire career off of proving Atlantis being fake. So he's saying that he needs the UEO president's, or UEO secretary's personal sub immediately. And he lets them know, here's my ID. I have high clearance. This is top secret. No questions. Get it ready. And, you know, he has clearance. The guy lets him go by. And they need the helmet. Somehow the helmet is supposed to get him out of there. But just when he's about to make his clean getaway, he sees a vision of fire blasting at him. And now his entire worldview is being questioned. And they figured out the cure. But it's a cure they can't have. And he says the cure is a pure heart. Someone who is able to pass through Atlantis and resist its riches. So it means that in order to survive, he has to actually go to Atlantis and resist the temptation to steal. But how can they go there? There's no Atlantis. It doesn't even exist anymore. And the professor says it only exists within his mind. So of course that's B'Elanna's cue that it's time for her to step up. And he says, well, you know, I've read all the materials. I've had this story passed down through my family, and I have genetic memory, which, you know, a quick throw in with the triple there about genetic memory. But what she's going to do is try to do a Vulcan mind meld with 3 people. And the professor's a little nervous about it. He really doesn't want them to see everything in his mind, which, fair enough. No one wants that.
Don't blame him. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, does anyone want to see everything in my mind? No.
Nope.
People don't even want to see most of the things I talk about in my mind. But she says, no, they won't be able to see everything. They'll only be able to see the very specific things that he allows them to see. So they all hold hands, and she begins to perform the ceremony that will return their Katras back into their bodies. And so off they go. They're walking through, you know, it kind of looks Aztec-y ruins. It was probably just like the Nickelodeon show, Temple of Doom. It was like a trivia show for kids, and they'd have to do this obstacle course at the end, and there'd always be like, they'd step in this chamber and like some guy would grab them. It may have been after your time.
Yeah, that doesn't sound familiar to me. Okay.
But Ortiz and Bridger show up, and they see all the treasures that Atlantis has to offer, which apparently is a single table's worth. Like there's a mirror with some gold. And Bridger rejects it all and just looks up and vanishes. Ortiz, however, he picks up a golden necklace, but he decides, no, I don't want this. And he sets it down and walks off. And now both of them are awake. And it seems like maybe they've come out of the woods. Springtime wants to know, am I ready for Bird of Prey 5 to become a real-life Batman? I'd be interested to see that, yes. And we've been talking about the Highlander reboot. I hadn't heard about that. I don't want that. It's fine the way it is. I mean, yeah, the sequel wasn't that good, but the original Highlander and the Highlander TV series, both of them, fantastic. Just leave well enough alone. That's it, Trek Reviewer. The Legend of the Hidden Temple. That was the name of the Nick show. So now both of them have gone into his memory, and they too are tempted to take something. And the professor, it looks like he actually might take something. He's at least taking a close examination of it. But he hands it over to the professor, a red gemstone. And they They smile at each other, and she opens her hand, or, holds it close to her heart. This item that he gave her telepathically. And Bull from Night Court played a villain in the Highlander TV series. I did not know that, Robert. But yes, Mr. CCDB, I don't think he was called Bull in Highlander. So they're going to give the professor here the helmet. And they're claiming that it's actually his inheritance, which I kind of suspect it really should be like in a saltwater bath. Like, it's been under the ocean for thousands of years. So as the professor is holding it like this, he laments the fact that he's never going to get any closer to Atlantis than what he did just now. That the professor was kind enough to let him see it, but it's all he's ever going to get. And he passes along the claymore sword glaive. He passes along the glaive to Ford, and he says he suspects that Ford's ancestry goes back to Atlantis, kind of explaining why it even reacted to him and why he saw the spirit when no one else did. And we can't believe it, but somehow she actually has the red gemstone. She was able to physically bring back something from his mind. But left alone, Bridger and the professor are talking. The Bridger wants to know, how important is it for him to reach Atlantis? And, he says it's extremely important, but there's no way to do it. He thinks maybe they left Atlantis around the summer solstice. And Bridger says, well, look, the truth of the matter is, I know where Atlantis is. So he pulls out this piece of paper and says, this is a celestial chart, because I want you to have it. And the professor's like, thanks. And then he says, and this is a sextant. I want you to have this too. So you use a sextant to chart a course by plotting the stars. He said, I just realized that as you were holding that, I finally noticed something about the helmet, something that had been bugging me for a long time. It's the holes. The holes are clearly star constellations, seen from sometime around June 10th of the 1st century. Now the sash is clearly Orion's belt, so he thinks that if the professor learns to use the sextant, he would be able to find the lost city of Atlantis. Which, is neat, but, every culture has had its own star chart, so it's pretty convenient that the Atlanteans used the star charts that we're so familiar with. Joshua is saying that the anime Highlander movie was also good. I never saw that one. Thomas wants to know, it's a what? It's a sextant. Eric is saying, it's a fake! Thomas wants to know, what does the first 3 letters say? It says sex, yes. And Mr. CCTV claiming that I said sex tint.
Probably, yeah.
Those words are hidden within it, yes. Yes, they are. Anti-tracker Matthew judging the dyslexic guy for spelling over on SciTube. No, I'm specifically not judging. I specifically said I'm not one to judge. I have no stones to cast in this regard. And yes, Thomas, the language.
Yes. Language, seriously.
Captain America is going to come wash my mouth out with soap if I keep this up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, John, how did you enjoy tonight's episode?
I thought it was fun for the most part, although it did have one glaring problem, which was the omission of Darwin from the story. Well, I'm sure if Darwin had been there, the story would have been over in 5 minutes when he figured everything out.
I'm honestly surprised they didn't find something for Darwin to do in today's episode.
You would think so. I mean, he'd had Piccolo escape through the pool. He could have had Darwin there. But anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe he was on vacation.
I suppose he gets a break every once in a while. Or he would have been the one to like really kick off the mutiny. Because, you know, Bridger would have given Lewis the talking down. And Darwin would have said something like, you know, Bridger, bad. Mind, strange.
Well, it's interesting that they, as you've seen a few other episodes, they're not afraid to go into this, supernatural a little bit. If this had been a Star Trek episode, everything would have ended up having a scientific explanation. Well, they kind of left it up in the air here.
And they really are confident about doing that several times. In this season, I think the only other episode they really touched on that was the one about the device that absorbed everyone's negative thoughts. I think that was the only one where they went quasi supernatural. Everything else had some sort of scientific basis, I want to say. But then last season they had the ghost ship episode, so they definitely they definitely are not afraid from shying away from things that go beyond our kin. Like even the telepathy is quasi paranormal in SeaQuest. Because while there is a scientific basis of, well, people are just telepathic and they don't really explain why, it's just kind of the next step in human development, they still say, well, this is humanity and it's in the future, but it's still humanity. So telepathy is just, it's a natural occurrence. There's nothing, or no, I think I talked myself out of my point there. I do that. Anyway, and Arvik, is that for real? A chair simulator?
Chair simulator.
Did I see that pop up? Or I thought I saw someone saying that they just downloaded a chair simulator.
Oh, yeah, Sci-Fi Nation said that. That's strange.
There it is. Yeah. Is that for real, Sci-Fi? Are you pulling my leg? I mean, between bus simulator, the power wash simulator, I've seen a lawnmower simulator, prison simulator, police simulator. Is there really a chair simulator? I've got to look this up. Maybe I just need to go to Steam and look up the word simulator. It's just that so many of these things, they're like $30-$40. I'm like, I don't think a bus simulator deserves to be $40. Yeah.
By the way, Josh Street says, wasn't this the episode that the Darwin puppet was down for repairs? I don't know, but that would be a good explanation for it.
Oh, that would be. Yeah, so Power Wash Simulator, $20. American Truck Simulator is only $5 right now because it's 75% off. Okay, Flight Simulator, I understand why that one's expensive. That one actually makes sense. Euro Truck Simulator, Farming Simulator, Police Simulator, which is the one Cinnabon's been doing, $25. Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, I think Bird's been doing that one.
Yeah, he did that one time.
These are all $20 games. I don't.
But apparently, Chair Simulator is free. Apparently.
The heck, PC Building Simulator, $20. Ranch Simulator, $20, and that's on discount. It's usually $25. Potion Craft Alchemist Simulator. Well, see, at least that one's like a pretend type game. Car Mechanic Simulator. I guess there's a niche of people who'd want to play that one. You like taking apart cars and learning about it. I don't know. I'm shocked right now. I can't believe how many simulator games there are out there and how many of them are so expensive. Cultist Simulator. That looks like a card game. That one doesn't look. Oh, I'm beside myself right now. Which, okay, how do you think Chair Effing Simulator? How is this a thing? This is exactly what... Oh my goodness, this is an adult-oriented game in which the chairs are shown on each other with the little hearts coming off. Wow. I did not expect to run across that.
Yeah, that's how it says, the guy who plays weird games. It's true.
I'm sure I have no idea what you're implying with that.
Sure you don't.
There's a tree simulator? It's been updated for 3 years in a row. Tree Simulator 2020, 2021, and 2022. Getting a little ahead of yourself there, Tree Simulator. But this one's only $3, so I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like, but now with 100% more multiplayer. You are the tree, and so is everyone else. You are equaled by no other except maybe the forest. Relax and be the best tree you can be. Okay. Enjoy customizable settings and more. What could that mean? This is coming from About the Game. This is what they wrote. Now with multiplayer, for transparency, multiplayer is tested with 4 trees, but it should support up to 100.
Ooh.
Trees 5 and 6 are rocks. Trees 1 through 4 and 7 through 100 are normal trees. What does that sentence mean? I don't know. I think what it's trying to say is that if you have a lot of multiplayer people, the 5th and 6th people are rocks, not trees, but the first 4 people and the last 7 through 100 people are all trees. So, hey, if you want to be a rock, try and get in for 5 or 6. There's no built-in text or voice chat. It's recommended that Discord or Steam chat can be used. Host trees can invite trees. A&D, rotate, view, WS, zoom. There's achievements. Everyone, there are achievements on this game. There are 19 achievements on this game. You can put a red tie to get an achievement. Be a tree for 5 minutes. 2 trees in a forest. A UFO can show up. There's a meditation tree if you're in there for an hour. Aspen tree if you're in there for 2 hours. Somehow you can be dizzy and fall down as a tree. I guess you spin around a lot. If you play the game for 5 hours, there's an achievement. 10 hours. Oh my goodness. 500 hours? 1,000 hours? There's people who have gotten this achievement. 10,000 hours as a tree. There's someone who got this achievement. 0.6% of the people who play this game have gotten the achievement 10,000 hours.
Well, that's a dedication right there.
I'm shocked. But hey, you can buy all 3 as a bundle and get 54% off. Only $277.
It's a steal.
Wow. Wow. I did not expect to be going down this rabbit hole at all.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is there a paint drying simulator?
Is there? Oh gosh, I don't even want to know, man. Truck Reviewer is saying that the chair effing simulator will be the next game I play. It will not. Nope. I promise you this right now. That will never be a game I play. So save your money if you're thinking, hey, I'm going to get Matthew this game as a gift and it'll be the hilarious thing ever. Nope. No, I will not be playing this game ever.
And Thomas says, now look at your games.
No, I refuse. I don't know if it's on there, but I absolutely refuse. Not even. Tell me it's not really in there. If it's in there, it hasn't shown up yet. I hope someone didn't legit do this. Okay, I don't see it. I think I'm safe. Wow. That'd be something right there.
If you want some more excitement, though, Sci-Fi Nation might stream Chair Simulator afterwards.
Now Chair Simulator, it looks like you can actually dine it. It looks like. I saw the video playing, and I saw it say "You are dead." So you can sit in different chairs, but you go shopping for chairs. But if you sit down for too long, you die. So with Tree Simulator, in theory, you can turn it on some unused computer and just, rack up 10,000 hours doing nothing. But Chair Simulator, you have to pay attention or else you die. It's called the pain in the donkey-o-meter, if you get what I'm putting down.
Oh, that's not what I meant. Like, look at your weird games.
My games are fantastic.
That's one word for it.
They are masterpieces of storytelling.
Especially Echo, right?
Oh my goodness. And my wife is like, I can't believe you made that jump in the end. Like, I would have quit. Like, I can't believe... I had to quit watching. It was so frustrating. So I'm like, well, I gotta beat it. I'm so close to the end now. I have to beat Echo. I'm so close. Oh my goodness. So back to SeaQuest. I didn't like it the first time I watched it. I liked it more the second time. And to be fair, the first time I watched it, I could only like halfway watch it. I was kind of busy, but I needed to see it before we streamed tonight. So I wasn't really able to pay attention to everything. My one and only nitpick of the episode, like you said, I don't mind that SeaQuest goes the supernatural route every once in a while. I think it makes for good storytelling when they choose to do it. But the thing that made no sense was Bridger putting on the helmet. Like, Bridger is so respectful to all things archaeological. I say that, but he was ready to, blow it all up. But that was just to prove a point in last season. He actually is very respectful. And so for him to be like, I'm going to put this on my head now, I didn't buy it. But they needed him to do it for the rest of the episode to have it. They needed that confrontation moment between Ford and Bridger where Ford stepped up, which, to be fair, Ford being afraid of command is kind of antagonistic to, or antithetical to, his personality. But at least it makes halfway sense since he's concerned about seeing things that aren't there. So, I'll give that a pass. He's actually being responsible. And it's only B'Elanna Troi who convinces him to go forward. Just don't pay attention to your imaginary friend.
Yes, despite the hallucinations, he actually acted relatively reasonable throughout the episode.
Yeah.
Thomas says, at least they were in the sea in this episode. Yeah, they haven't been doing that much recently, it seems like.
Very true. Josh Street, painting the donkey. Can you specify what I'm talking about? Or Thomas was saying that. Yes, it's your derriere, your buttocks. Josh is saying, so close. Matthew, you're not even halfway through Echo. No, I'm actually like 5 levels away. So I'm getting real close to being done with Echo. And then I can actually play some of these other games I got just sitting and waiting, begging to be played in my list. I'm pretty sure the next one I'm going to do is the Turing test. Can't wait for that one. Should be another kind of provocative, good storyline type thing. It might be puzzle heavy. I try not to play super puzzle heavy games, right? Like on streams, because it takes too much brain power. But we'll see. Aravik is saying, "Dear Wag." I don't get it.
I don't know. But yes, it does sound like another weird game, Thomas.
Yeah. It shouldn't be weird. It should be. Hopefully, it's going to be kind of like the first game that I started doing some gameplays of, the Talos Principle, where you were the robot, but it turned out you're just like the program, and you're having to solve all these light puzzle stuff. So I hope it to be like that one. Josh, I turn out Matthew half the time, so what did he say? Rude. Oh, Echo 2 and 3? Yeah, I don't have Echo 2 and 3. I was just talking about the very first Echo game. I'm over halfway done with it. Like, I'm so close to being done with it. As long as it doesn't... We're going?
Sorry, go ahead.
I'd say as long as it doesn't turn... as long as it doesn't turn out that the last 5 levels are like just torture traps where like I was just having to do that jump over and over and over again until I hit it just right. As long as the last few levels aren't like that, then I should be done with the game. Maybe 2-3 playthroughs now, or streams.
And by the way, I think they were talking about how you accidentally called Josh Thomas at first.
Oh, yes. I see. Yeah, Thomas, only 15 months until I finish it. Hopefully not. So I do want to play other games. There's so many fun games. I've just been collecting them. I'm like, well, I'm not going to play them until I can stream them. Which is also why I've stopped buying games. I'm like, until I get caught up, I'm not going to do any more. I say that, but I've actually been doing like a true puzzle game called The Room, which has been a lot of fun. But it's literally like, I don't know if you've ever seen the lockbox puzzles, where there's just a box and you have to fiddle with it until you can unlock it. It's like that. So it would not be a game fun to stream, but it's exactly the type of game I love to play. Oh, I see, Aravik. Dear Wagner, why don't you think SeaQuest is accurate to the submarine life?
I don't know if you've seen it.
Darren Wagner has seen SeaQuest, I believe, and can't stand it, if I'm recalling things correctly. But if you ever see any videos on actual submarine life, which there's a guy called Matt Destin who does a YouTube channel called Smarter Every Day, and he actually was allowed to go aboard a U.S. nuclear submarine and do all kinds of recording as it did some maneuvers beneath the polar ice cap. And he's just recently been able to release these videos because after he was done recording, he had to send all of his footage to the government, and the government had to, redact anything they didn't want talked about. And once they were done redacting everything, that's when he was allowed to actually make his stuff. But if you watch that, you will see why SeaQuest absolutely is nothing like life aboard a submarine. It's more like life aboard a starship underwater.
Yes, I don't know if it was really trying to accurately represent life aboard a submarine like we know it now. He said it was more of a futuristic feel. Yeah,
I definitely agree. Maybe we should make an article for each weird game Matthew has. Maybe. I don't know. One of these days, maybe I'll just sit down and I can tell you about all the different... Because it says I have 108 on here, but I don't think I played more than 15 of them. Anyways, with that, guys, John, you have any final thoughts about this week's episode?
Oh, pretty much that it was fun to watch, except for the lack of Darwin. But hopefully they'll rectify that mistake next week.
Hopefully so. In fact, next week we're going to be watching Season 2, Episode 14, and Everything Nice. So my guess is we're going to be talking about a lady... what are little girls made out of? Sugar, spice, and everything nice. So maybe, shot in the dark, someone has a daughter, and we're gonna be focusing on that daughter. That would be my shot in the dark guess. I don't know, maybe Jim. Maybe Piccolo. Ooh. Can you imagine Piccolo having a daughter? And it would clearly have to be like a daughter he doesn't even know about. Bridger having a daughter? I can't imagine that. We'd have to know about that. Ford? Surely not. Ford is too straight lace to have a daughter he doesn't know about. I can see.
What if Darwin has a daughter?
Ooh, the daughter of Darwin. Maybe. Who else could we have? Piccolo would make sense. Dagwood would be a real big out of left field situation.
Yeah, so apparently he's never kissed a girl before, according to what they said a few episodes back. But hey.
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, it would be one of those like technical daughters, like, oh well, you know, this is like in the first episode of season 2 or the second episode when he met his quote unquote niece or second cousin. I forget how they described it.
Yeah, something like that.
Maybe Lucas. Maybe so, Thomas. Maybe so. And Josh, no, the captain had a son who died during some conflict, and that's why he quit the UEO entirely, because the son had actually wanted to retire or lead the UEO, and Bridger had a chat with him, and because of that chat, the son decided to stay, and that directly led to the son's death. And so Bridger, he took it extremely seriously, extremely depressed, left the UEO, swore to his wife he'd never leave. Then his wife died, and you know that set everything up for the season or for the series. Josh, Matthew, did I have a kid I didn't know about? I had a dream I did once, and like I woke up thoroughly disturbed from that dream. But no, I definitely there are some physical requirements to have children that I can with all confidence say I could not have a daughter I didn't know about.
And I like Cinnabon's idea though.
The son faked his death and became his daughter. Maybe so. No, I'll save that. I'll save that for a different night. I was going to talk about a dream I had last night, but no, that'll be a perfect thing to talk about in a different stream altogether. So with that, I enjoyed the episode. I'm glad you guys were here to watch it with us. We look forward to seeing you next week, as long as I don't have some random thing come up then, but I shouldn't. It's pretty rare these days when I have to miss out on one of these SeaQuest episodes. So everyone take care. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you back here next week.
All right.
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will, and be sure to hit that bell icon to be notified of all the updates I do on this channel. If you want to support the work I'm doing here, then I hope you'll consider becoming one of my Patreons, where you'll get early access to all kinds of videos. And until the next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.